Josh and Frankie. What a couple of dumb shits.
We're here with Tim Slowinski, the artist behind just about all that Oysterhead iconography that you've seen for 20-odd years and love to no end. Tim, thank you for joining Primus Tracks.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
We talk Primus, Les Claypool history, and art and music and everything in between. You have a pretty special place there because there's only one Oysterhead record and one true Oysterhead tour, and it's your art that adorns all of that. That's pretty rad.
Right, yeah. I did the album cover and they had a poster for the concert.
Yeah.
So
I love
for
that poster. That poster is fantastic. And one of the reasons that I really love that poster is that you can tell you heard the record and you digested the themes and the characters. And I think it's really amazing when an artist takes the time to do that instead of just, creating a generic poster. Because and also I wanted to tell you that the artwork fits the music so incredibly well. I can't think about one without the other. I mean, they are so connected that it's really amazing.
Oh, well, thanks.
Now, how long have you been creating this art, Tim? Because it's so established, and I'm telling you, it's entrenched in my mind too.
Yeah.
The faces that you create. I'm just curious how you got started and got to that point where this was, the Tim Slowinski style, I suppose.
I started painting in high school. In the beginning, I did sort of a period of more abstract sort of expressionist type stuff. And then I got into more phototype based art. Like, I guess photorealism was popular back in the 70s. So I would do photography and then I would make paintings from that. But I would kind of change the photo around. So I have an old painting hanging on the wall over here. I'll get it and you can see what I'm talking about.
Yes, please. For those of you watching on video, you were in for a treat. For those of you not, patreon.com/Primus Tracks.
Here's an old painting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
From the photograph that I took of one of my sisters in the bathroom looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of what I was doing.
Very cool.
And then at a certain point I moved to Woodstock and I was living there in this house with a bunch of artists. And I was doing artwork of my girlfriend, like nudes and stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
And then when we broke up, it was like I had all these nudes, and I didn't. I was like, what did I make these for? But so maybe that had something to do with it, but it wasn't just that. But anyway, right around that time, I decided I would just do art only out of my head, like whatever came into my my mind. I wouldn't look at anything.
Okay, so no external reference material from that moment forward. Okay.
And I had no idea what I was going to do. Like, I just had that idea, and I kind of didn't do anything for a little while. And then one day I got kind of pissed off at myself, and I just started making this big head, And that's kind of how it started from there. And it kind of developed over the years into like more of a style,
Wow. That's fascinating. It's born out of frustration to a degree.
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, first of all, frustration is a great mode of creation. For me, there's also a detour into destruction, and then I can create after the fact, but
Right.
sometimes self-destruction. But I'm curious about that because I have a really pedestrian education in art and art history. And I was trying to identify some of the possible inspirations for the signature Tim Slowinski style. And I didn't know if you had any particular training or grounding that you drew upon.
Well, that's funny because I never actually, when I was in high school, at the end of high school, I applied to some art type schools, and I think the Art Institute of Chicago, I was thinking of going there. But they sent me a letter, you've been accepted. Send us your check for $6,000. It's like, well, I guess I'm not doing that. So my dad was a professor at Seton Hall Law School, right?
Oh,
So I
okay.
could go to school at that college for free, but they had no art program there really. So I just kind of went for a couple of years and took a lot of art history type stuff, and but I never really did any art type thing related, in the school. So this my painting, I guess, is pretty much like a self-taught type background, but I guess I had the art history type background too, just
Yeah.
from few years of that. So it's kind of like based in a traditional kind of foundation as far as, if you look at my paintings, the compositions and stuff, and even the technique in some ways is it's all acrylic, but it's similar to like a tempera type technique where you work with layers and model by
Okay.
doing layering as opposed to like blending stuff together.
Yeah, and
Something.
that gives your paintings a lot of depth,
Yeah,
is what I've noticed. And the other thing I noticed is the a lot of round faces, and there will be
yeah,
a lot of round facial features, but some of them, especially I think in the industry series, and
yeah,
some of your other paintings, there will be round faces contrasted by very square, straight-lined facial features.
yeah,
So there's a lot of including the figure behind you. There's a lot of great contrasts.
yeah.
That now is that a conscious decision, or did you find yourself just doing that?
No, I never really thought about it
Okay.
much. I just kind of, make stuff, and that's how it turns out.
Well, that's great. That's just creation.
Yeah,
That's excellent.
I
Go ahead,
wanted I
Frankie.
wanted to highlight that something really amazing about Tim's art is that it's as if you can feel the textures that he
Mm.
paints. So if there are scales or wrinkles or whatever, it's the painting transmits that so well that I feel like I can almost touch it.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Or oysters.
Yes.
Yeah, you have a lot of bold lines in your paintings as well. And I just want to tell everybody right now, pause this podcast, go to slowart.com, browse around, and then come back and agree with everything we're saying. So, but these are just my observations, of course. I actually wanted to connect with you on where I was coming from when I first saw the Oysterhead album cover art back in 2001. Of course, I went out, being a lifelong Primus fan, went out and bought the album immediately. Speaking of colleges, I put it on my university bill. So my dad called me a couple weeks later and said, "What's this CD?" Like,
Uh-huh.
I'll pay you back for it, Dad. Sorry. I was freaked out by that album cover and the other illustrations in the lyric book. This is going the way of praise for you, Tim. I know it doesn't sound like it at first, but I could not separate your imagery for that album, for the Oysterhead album, from some other art forms like medieval marionettes that I'd seen when I was a kid, or those
Uh,
giant paper mache or papier mache pageant puppets that
right.
you see on display or in shows and protests. I had to think about it because back then I just went, this freaks me out too much. But in thinking about it now, it's very within, I think, the facial expressions of in many of your paintings, and I think
Yeah.
that's what connects them, especially your figures that have the riveted faces, right? Like
Yeah.
they're bolted on, kind of like those paper mache puppets are starched or pasted together. Excuse me. So that's where I came from, making those connections, thinking I wonder if that was his inspiration, but it may not be consciously for you, but that's what I attach it to. And I'm curious if other people have kind of attached their own experience and thrown
Yeah.
it at you like that.
Well, that's funny because when, like going way back, like I was talking about how I just started painting stuff out of my head,
Hmm.
right?
Mhm.
That was right around that time. I went down to the cloisters, and I was walking around looking at the artwork and stuff, and I was getting into looking at the stained glass windows.
Okay.
And so when I came back from that, that's where I started experimenting with like the black outlining around the figures and stuff.
Yes.
And it kind of that's kind of where it came from. So it's interesting you would say that it has like a medieval type uh, vibe to it.
Yeah, which is a hallmark of stained glass, of course, those bold black outlines.
Right.
I went
Right.
to Catholic school, K through 8 and went to church every Sunday and sometimes during the week. So those images of those stained glass windows in that particular church are burned into my brain. So that
Uh,
I could see that connection for certain. Was that unconscious, do you think, at the time, or did you draw that line to the stained glass when you started creating what became your style?
uh, no, I think that was intentional,
Okay.
as an experiment. And then I liked the effect and the way it worked out. And then it became kind of habitual. And off and on, I would like do paintings that didn't use like outlining. It turned out okay, but then I would always go back to it. So it's kind of a,
Okay, so that became a foundational aspect,
yeah.
the bold black lines. Okay. The other thing, and I had to look this up once again, total novice when it comes to art and art history. It appears, and I mentioned the very rounded faces and bodies.
Right.
There's a style called Botero that
Oh, yeah.
exaggerates the roundness of faces and bodies. And I don't know if that was another unconscious inclusion or maybe that was parallel thinking on your part.
Well, I wasn't trying to mimic Botero or anything, but I mean, I'd seen his artwork. I mean,
Okay.
I liked it, so it could be had some influence there. The other thing about the like using the outlining type thing is it isolates each component of the painting into like a separate painting. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So it's like it separates each part. So when I'm working on a painting, that's kind of how I'll do it. It's like uh, I know I'll paint like one hand or then another hand, or I'll do the face. Like each piece is done separately, one at a time, and then they
oh,
all
really?
kind of works together toward the end.
So are you essentially doing part by part and without looking at the whole picture? I mean, you have
Well,
to for like
I've done it different ways. Like I'll have sometimes I'll have like a little tiny thumbnail sketch of just like the idea, and then I'll draw the whole thing on. But usually and occasionally I'll have like a finished drawing, and then I'll translate that on. But usually not. Usually it's like a just a kind of basic sketch, and then but I'll get the whole drawing set, and then I'll do the drawing with black, like outlining
okay.
the painting first. But as I'm filling it in, I guess it's kind of like when you're when you're a kid doing a coloring book, right? You do like one section and another one. So.
Okay. So, for example, and I'm going to direct everybody again to slowart.com, go to the industry section, and there are three paintings in a series called Head of Industry. I'm looking at Head of Industry 2, and so in the foreground is a suspended head with a clock on it approaching midnight on the forehead. To me, there's symbolism there, like the doomsday clock. Anyway, behind
Right.
that head are industrial buildings, all kinds of smokestacks, and smoke rising up and the smoke fills the entire top half of the background. When you do something like that with these layers, and I'm seeing these layers that you've described, do you have a plan for working from the front back, from the back to the front?
Oh
How
yeah,
does that work
usually
for
I
you?
do from the back to the front. So
Okay.
I'll do the furthest thing like a sky and then the mountains and then the earth. I'll leave the main character to the end.
Okay.
That is kind of how I do it. Yeah.
Okay. Frankie, are you taking notes for your drawings?
Yes, I know. And what a characteristic way to draw smoke, by the way. I don't think there's any other artist that draws it like that.
Really.
Yeah, like the mushroom caps, like they're the
Yes.
little plumy caps like that. That's very interesting. It's like very, I don't know why, but that's very Floydian to me. Like
Yeah.
you like I don't know if you had the Animals album on in the background. Actually, I wanted to ask about that. When you're working, are you playing music? Are you working in silence? Are there nature sounds? What's your go-to there?
Oh, I kind of listen to all different stuff.
Okay.
I'll use music. I don't never really use like nature type sounds or anything like that. But I would listen to music or lately like podcasts. There's so much shit going on in the world, you
Yeah.
know. I listen to different news podcasts and political opinion type stuff.
Tim, I wanted to ask what you think about outsider art and if you would consider your art within that category.
Yeah, I like a lot of outsider art, and I guess I guess because I'm kind of self-taught and in some ways it kind of relates to it. But I mean, the real definition of an outsider is like, some guy out in Kansas in a barn and he's making some crazy shit and he doesn't even know he's an artist or he's doing art. He's just he's just making stuff. So, so probably I wouldn't con consider myself an outsider artist because, I'm familiar with art history and the art world and galleries and the whole thing. So
Was the foundation of your gallery in part due to frustration regarding how galleries work?
oh yeah, pretty much. I when I started out, I had shows in other galleries, and I was living. Uh, I grew up in New Jersey, and I had lived up in Woodstock for a while before I opened the gallery in the city. And so I had shows there and some galleries. And then, of course, in New York City, I had some like nightclub shows. It was kind of popular in the 80s. Like they would put on these group shows in nightclubs, Limelight and Tunnel Club, places like that. And then I did some shows in some smaller galleries, like East Village was popular back then. And but the big, the big important galleries at the time in Soho or now in Chelsea, Manhattan, whatever. It's the whole system was set up in a way to basically make the artist into like a beggar, like you were going, and they're kind of in the position of power. And you're going around at the time, you'd have these little 35 millimeter slide sheets, and you'd go gallery to gallery, asking them to look at it. And they'd say, yeah, we'll leave it here and come back later. And you'd come back and it'd still be sitting there on the desk. And then it's like, well, come back next week. Or, you know, I had guys say, oh, yeah, this is great. Someone will show it, but not me.
Hmm.
And then other guys would say, I like these paintings, but if you just did the background and got rid of all the people and things in the front, maybe that would work.
Right.
But I kind of got tired of the whole thing. And then, I mean, I went through a whole thing in Woodstock where I was living in these different kind of like abandoned houses and trading, working on the house, instead of paying rent and stuff. I kind of had run out of places to do that because the area was getting gentrified. And I had all these paintings piled up.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's like, what am I going to do with them, So I decided, well, I'll just go down to the city and rent a store and, have a show and see what happens. And I
Yeah.
figured if it doesn't work out, then I could just maybe go to Alaska and work on a pipeline or something.
Yeah, that frustration is more common than most people might think in
Yeah.
that world. I years ago I talked to Dave Archer, the guy that paints with the Tesla coil. Are you familiar with
Mhm.
him?
No.
Oh, okay. He does these spacescapes and he paints on glass with 1,000,000 volts of electricity going through a Tesla
Oh,
coil.
yeah.
And his artwork was on Star Trek: The Next Generation, and he did tons of shows. And
Uh-huh.
I talked to him because he lives up here in Oregon now. He said, "Yeah, my paintings made $1 million one year, but not
Wow.
me." And then he said he got tired of the gallery scene and then just moved up to Oregon, moved into a place with a shop, and he just kept painting away and selling them out of his shop as opposed to
Mhm.
dealing with gallery owners.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did. It worked out pretty well.
Seems
Uh,
to, yeah, that's great. It's a gambit paid off for you.
it kind of I went through different periods. In the beginning, the first couple storefronts I had, the neighborhood it was like there was a lot of galleries in that area, and so you could just hang up paintings on the wall, and people would come in and buy them. You didn't have to really do anything like promoting and stuff.
That sounds nice.
That was pretty good. But then the neighborhood kind of deteriorated in a way, and all the galleries like started to abandon it. And I was like the
Oh,
last gallery on the block, and then the stores were taken over by these different drug dealer gangs from like Colombia and different places.
hmm.
And at one point, they closed the whole block down.
Oh, wow.
And so no one was allowed to walk down it. So how are you going to have a gallery on a block where you can't even walk down the street, right?
That changes your
And
clientele
yeah,
significantly.
I was there
Yeah.
painting in the back of the store, one day, and this cop runs into the store with his gun in his hand, and he goes, "Just don't say anything," and he hides behind the wall, and he's looking out of my window, right, spying on some guys dealing drugs across the street. I'm like, wait a minute, you're gonna go running out of my store to arrest some guy across the street, right?
Oh,
And then
yeah,
you're gonna be
yeah.
gone, and then what? I'm the guy
You're a
who has
narc
the,
now.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, man.
So I had to move to a different neighborhood after that.
Oh, 100%. Yes. You don't stick around after that. If we could move into your experience with Oysterhead and that project, I'm curious,
Sure.
because you were established, pretty well established at that point in the late 90s, moving to the turn of the century. How did you get hooked up with the Oysterhead project?
I tell you, I really didn't do anything. They just, I forget how they contacted me, probably over email or something. I kind of got listened more to like jazz or like Indian music, like
Okay.
all different kinds of stuff, but not so much really into like rock type stuff. So I really wasn't that familiar with Les Claypool or his music at all.
Oh,
They
interesting.
just they just sort of contacted me out of the blue. I noticed later, looking at some other art on his album covers, that he had interesting taste in art, and
Yeah.
he would get
Yep.
different artists to do stuff for him. So I guess that's what he just saw my art somewhere, and
Oh,
then
interesting.
they contacted me uh, to make the album cover.
Les is a very visual guy. So
Yeah.
some of those album covers you've seen, there's clay figurines by his good friend Lance Montoya, and Les
Mhm.
airbrushed him himself.
Oh, really?
And he's doing yeah, and so Les does a lot of that hands-on work. So he's a really visual guy. So him reaching out for cover art from somebody else kind of carries extra weight in my mind. Because
Yeah.
he conceptualizes the entire thing, not just the music. He's got a hand in the cover art and the design and layout and what the booklet looks like and that sort of thing. So he had seen your art. Must have been somewhere if it was his
Yeah.
management reaching out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. Now it has been 25 years, but do you recall some of the details about how they laid it out for you in terms of what they were looking for? Because it appears that the Oysterhead painting was original commissioned work. Is that the idea?
Yeah, he actually bought the painting
He
because
did.
I didn't do I didn't really do commercial art like illustrating and stuff. A couple of times I did like a piece on a like magazine cover or whatever, but it was never like people didn't really pay me to do it. They
Mhm.
just took a painting that I made. So when they asked me, I was like, well, I don't really do that. I don't really do illustrating. I go, but if you wanted me to make you a painting, I could, make the painting and then you could use it for whatever you want. So that was originally kind of was the idea. So I made the painting and he bought it and used it on the cover. But
Okay.
they sent me the music so I could listen to it and read the lyrics and stuff. Then he did point out there was one of those head of industry paintings
Uh-huh.
that he pointed out that he said I kind of like that painting, and he thought I could use that as kind of like inspiration and and related to it, which is why the album cover has kind of that industrial pipes and the face almost kind of resembles the other face in that painting too.
Oh, Head
But
of Industry 3. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that one. I did actually a few different, like a lot of the drawings that are inside in the insert thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of those drawings are sketches that I made uh, for the cover, and they didn't like it, or
Oh,
the, or maybe they liked it, but it wasn't like it didn't really hit them as that's it, right? So I did a few different versions, and then I came up with the one that they used.
They also had your artwork on the tickets for the shows.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
oh,
didn't know
nice.
that.
Did you end up getting to see an Oysterhead show, Tim?
I went down, yeah, for one of them in New York City.
Oh, very nice. And
Yeah.
and
Very
not being
cool.
familiar, well, you had heard the album. That sort of music not being your wheelhouse, I suppose. How was it for you? How was the show?
That was good. I mean, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I pretty varied, taste. There's, some more rock type stuff that I would listen to. But so it was interesting, but it was kind of a wild sort of scene.
I bet. That's a big rock show. I mean, the Fish audience bought up all the tickets, and maybe 4 or 5 Primus fans got in the door, maybe
Yeah.
1 Police fan, and it might have been a relative of Stuart Copeland that was able to get a comp ticket or something. So, but those were highly sought after tickets, and of course, it's great that they invited you down to the show. Yeah, I'm curious if for you, and once again, it's been 25 years, you heard the studio recording, and then you went to the show, and they were jamming out all these tunes. Did it still feel like the album for you? And were you thinking about the artwork that you had made for it, or were you just enjoying the music as it came to you?
Tell you the truth, in my entire lifetime, I've only been, I mean, excluding that one, I've probably only been to like 2 concerts.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I think the first concert I went to I think it was in high school. I think I went, and it was the Allman Brothers, and Edgar and Johnny Winter were playing together.
Wow.
Very
And
nice.
and they were, I think, and they were the main ticket. That the Allmans was like a warm-up band for them.
Oh, they were.
'Cause
Okay.
they weren't really popular yet. And Buddy Miles played the drums.
Man.
Right? And but usually when I would go to something like that, like some friends kind of would drag me along. And then I would have to stuff my ears with cotton or something. I was never really, I didn't really like the sound was too loud. And I never really liked comfortable in situations where there's like crowds of people.
Okay.
It just kind of put me off. So it made me kind of uncomfortable. And so when I went to that Oysterhead concert, it was kind of the same thing. I just felt kind of weird and oddly out of place,
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't remember really hanging out and jamming to the music. I kind of remember going there and kind of feeling like, what am I doing here? And like a lot of people, probably stoned out of their mind.
Sure. I will have to say that you are not alone in walking into a show where Les Claypool is part of it and just going, what am I doing here? Because I think a lot of people get dragged to those shows, whether it's Primus or whatever, and they question it. So I've heard that story in many iterations from many different people. So you're not alone. You were commissioned for this record. You ended up creating the painting that's on the cover here, and it's based on that Head of Industry painting that does have marked similarities. And then so the sketches on the inside, you said those were passes at cover art?
Yeah, it was kind of giving them or like preliminary kind of sketches to give them ideas, because I didn't really sure what they wanted. So I was trying to get in some kind of direction, so I made this different sketches and then to see how they would respond to it.
Okay, because some of them are very into the music. And Frankie, you mentioned this earlier. These sketches are very lyric based.
Yeah, the lyrics. Yeah.
The one I think that most stood out to me is the one on the page with the lyrics to Rubberneck Lions, Polka Dot Rose, and Birthday Boys. And that is the one with the bird and the pig, the humanoid bird, humanoid pig, and a guy who may be bound and gagged. I'm not entirely sure what's happening in that one right there. But that one, that one was
actually a detail of a bigger sketch.
Okay.
They took like some of these like that you're seeing in there are details of more elaborate drawings that I did for paintings, and actually one of them, that one that you saw right there, I actually made a big painting later on using that, but changing it, and I turned it into like a surgery scene where there was a guy on the
I recall that.
on the table being operated on by these like insane doctors.
That's a great idea. Now, to me, once again, like it took me back to that medieval art with these, with the bird, especially with the human eyes, and then the pig.
Yeah.
It freaked me out. And then there's just so many great facial expressions throughout these. And what's great is on that very first page, we get what looks like an earlier iteration of what became the album cover art.
Right. Yeah, that was an earlier sketch.
Okay. And then over here on the facing page with Shadow of a Man and Mr. Oysterhead lyrics, we have some Oysterhead people.
Yeah.
So I'm curious because like some of these are fairly like that one's fairly literal, and I love the idea because the Mr. Oysterhead kind of is vaguely shaped like a Mr. Potato Head almost, and it's like that
Yeah.
mustache is popped on, and I think there's a cigar hanging out of his mouth, which I wish my Mr. Potato Head would have had one of those when I was a kid. Was that a challenge for you, or were you finding these lyrics to be inspirational to a degree to allow you to go to these routes?
Right. Yeah, that's I listened to the lyrics and then yeah, I tried to incorporate them into the sketches. Um, and actually I had done quite a few because there was a bunch of different drawings like used inside and I was kind of getting frustrated like because they kept like saying, well, I don't know, I don't know. And I was almost where I was like, I think I'm just gonna forget about this whole thing. And and then the last sketch that I gave them was the one that they used, and they said, "Oh yeah, that's it. We like that one."
Oh, okay. So it was getting to the point where you might have nixed it with all the back and forth.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow. And
I
that's the
don't
challenge,
think
I
I would
think.
have, but that's kind of the feeling that I was having at the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I have a couple of guys who commissioned me to make paintings. There's like one art collector type guy that I have. That's his thing. He only likes commission paintings. I'd much rather someone just comes in and buys a painting, you know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
And so I don't really like doing it that much, but I kind of do it kind of reluctantly. So it was kind of frustrating in that sense that I was working on it and it wasn't working out exactly how they wanted, you know what I mean? Usually what like people that I've done commissions for still just give me a basic idea. Like this one guy, one of the ideas he had was he wanted me to do a painting that had Trump and Obama in it in the same painting. And that was it. That was the only requirement, right?
That
And
was the
aside
directive?
yeah, aside from that, I could do whatever I wanted. It's like, what? So I came up with this crazy painting of Trump and Obama in this little Mercedes car driving past the border wall in Mexico and people climbing over the wall and stuff. It kind of turned out okay.
And
Well, that's great. That's
there's
the ticket.
there's the pass.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So using the Oysterhead art. Excellent. Oh, after
Nice.
show there.
Oh, great. Oh, yeah, that's a good. I remember that little drawing.
Frankie's got all the good stuff.
I did.
Yes. And
Uh,
I got the ticket line somewhere, but I don't know where I put it, but it's got artwork on it as well.
Yeah.
yeah. And Frankie, I think you have one of the coveted vinyl copies, correct?
I got the original. That's right.
Yeah. I'm not that lucky, Tim. The vinyl release was very limited, and I think my dad would have been even more irritated if there was a CD and a vinyl version of that on my university bill.
I
So,
think I have two of the records.
oh, of course they would have sent you some copies. Yeah.
Yeah, I have two of those. And I had a bunch of the posters, but over the years I kind of like gave them away to people or here and there.
Hmm.
So I think I have one left. Some guy keeps calling me up trying to buy it, but it's the last one, so I didn't want to sell it.
If you need help, I can show you how to block his number.
Okay.
Which one's that, Frankie?
This is my Australian pressing signed by Stuart Copeland.
Oh wow.
Nice.
That's
Is
pretty
that the one you
cool.
actually got him to sign in person?
This is the one.
Oh, very
Yes.
good. Something you should know about Frankie, Tim, is he's very good at finding artists when they are arriving into the town that Frankie's in. He will wait them out, and then he will get that signature. He hunted down Stuart Copeland in Mexico City recently and got some cigs. It was
Oh,
pretty good.
wow. Some guy called me like a year ago, or I don't know, it was a year and a half, whatever. He said, I'm the artistic director or whatever for Les Claypool, and we're gonna do another Oysterhead, and we wanted you to make the cover for the second one. I was like, oh wow, great. But then they never call me back, so I think they changed their mind about doing it.
Oh yeah, because there was a lot of Oysterhead talk
Yeah.
of course, after the initial album and tour. It never came to fruition other than a handful of shows. You even got called up for artwork for a second record, even.
Yeah, they were gonna do a
Wow,
second version. Yeah.
that's the
Wow.
first I've ever heard of it going even that far.
Yeah, and then but then they never got back to me.
Okay.
think I emailed them back later, but they never responded, so I figured they decided not to do it.
Nothing's come of it that we know of at
Yeah,
any
Yeah.
back
rate.
in back in 2020 when they were announcing those reunion tour dates, yeah, there was some speculation that they were back in the studio.
It's good to know if they do get it going again, that they still have your number.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I wanted to ask Tim, why Gumby is a recurrent theme in some of your paintings.
That's a great question.
I've gotten asked that a lot, right? I don't know. When I was a kid, I always had, I had the Gumby and it was popular on TV, right? Too. They had the
Yeah.
Gumby show with the claymations and stuff.
Mhm.
But I kind of liked using for a couple of reasons, I guess. He's kind of like a kid, since it's like a kid's toy and it's like a innocent sort of character. It's like you kind of take him out of there and you put him into a scene where he's like raping the dough man or something, and it gives it kind of an added impact to the idea.
It's extremely subversive to do that. Yes. Goodness.
So I've used them a few times. It keeps popping up.
I do love his representation on the Oysterhead tour poster, in which he has
Yes,
two
that's
heads
so
and
cool.
is essentially X-shaped.
Oh, yeah, right, the
Yes.
two-headed Gumby.
Was there of course, my mind goes to, the X chromosome, right? So that's what that symbolizes. And of course, I was just bullshitting at the time. I have
Oh,
no
right,
idea.
yeah, the X thing. That's right.
Actually, while you're here, we should challenge Frankie to find all of the references within this Oysterhead tour poster that you created, Tim. It's a beautiful piece. So, Frankie, where are you seeing all these wonderful references? Because I see a few.
All right, so of course we have Wield the Spade right there, front centerpiece. And I see what could be little faces hanging on the wall.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and then we have we have the X chromosome Gumby, and the pig walking, taking the person for a walk. What could that be?
To me, that's the grand pecking order.
Oh, okay, that makes
Because
sense.
Tim, you have a lot of symbolism of billionaires and the plutocracy as pigs
Yeah.
and other animals. That's what rang true to me. That's the plutocracy taking us for a little stroll, as they
Interesting.
do every day.
Mm-hmm.
Nailed it. Nice. I like the two references to Wield the Spade. One being front and center with the barber. Frankie can do that better than
Yeah.
me.
Right.
Give us one, Frankie.
Barber.
There it is. That's beautiful. With the straight razor shave. I was always really disconcerted about how close the barber is to the customer.
Exactly.
Just right up to his face. But in the mirror is a guy wielding a spade.
Right.
And so that is really cool. I love
It's brilliant. Yes.
that perspective. And of course, the head of industry is the middle portrait there on the wall. So we get the Oysterhead head of industry reference there. I did wonder if any of these four portraits on the wall were of Nicola Ceausescu, who's the lyrical reference in Wield the Spade.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember putting that in there.
And then the other thing, and once again, this is probably a reach on my part, and Frankie and Tim, you can tell me otherwise, is the mannequin next to Gumby, I always thought was a representation of May Pan from Shadow of a Man, as if she were some kind of doll.
Oh, interesting.
Right. That wasn't intentionally put in. Maybe it was subconscious.
It definitely works. Yes.
You can retroactively say that it is, and you don't have to
Right.
give me credit for that one.
Okay, delete that. It really was.
Yeah.
It's a really great piece. It is highly sought after. I see it listed on eBay all the time for resale, and of course there's facsimiles out there as well. But it is so well done. I did want to ask you about this one because you had to draw two perspectives on the guy in the chair and the barber, as well as the guy wielding the spade over his shoulder in the reflection. How hard is it to draw reflections?
Oh, it's pretty hard because if you look at that one, it's not really it's not that accurate. Kind of gives you the general idea.
Yeah.
But,
It's a bit of a forced perspective,
Uh-huh.
too, so it's really interesting. you're hearing this from a guy who has never really tried, with drawing. And I just know it's really hard and I can do the basics and I just
Yeah.
can't, it's doing this would be impossible for me. So I admire anybody that can do this kind of thing. And it looks fantastic.
When I did that painting, and then I sent them I don't know what I sent them, a digital image or whatever that they used for the poster.
Hmm.
And then when it was done, I was like, well, do you want to buy the painting? And it's like they didn't want it. So I had the painting for a while. But then someone else bought it. So someone else owns that painting of the poster.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. What a get for them.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's excellent. So that resides in somebody's private collection, Frankie, and it's not
Yep.
yours yet.
No.
Yeah. I think I remember who it is. You want to call him up?
Tim Slowinski sent me. He wants his painting back. That's really fascinating. Just getting into everything behind the scenes in terms of you coming together with Oysterhead for this release. And Frankie said it earlier. The music and images match so well. I'm just shocked that you weren't listening to medieval minstrels the entire time that you were creating this, because I'm still kind of stuck in my own interpretation of it. But it just does. Those illustrations work so incredibly well because the music is very different too, and it was to me, especially as a longtime Primus fan up to that point.
Yeah.
I didn't really know Fish at all. I mean, I knew who Stuart Copeland was, but the music was so different and amorphous because I went into it with the Primus lens, and then it kind of opened me up a bit to some different ideas.
Yeah.
And I think your art did that for me too.
Oh,
It
great.
stretched me in a good way.
I had just one more question, Tim. I just wanted to share kind of a personal perspective I have about the artworks, and you can tell me if I'm on the right path or if I'm way off. But for example, when I analyze the Suburbia pieces
Oh
and
yeah.
I look at the characters going about their
Mhm.
activities in those paintings, I think that one angle could be like to say, oh, well, the artist is obviously making a critique on consumerism, capitalism, this or that.
Right.
But I don't get that when I look at the paintings. The sensation that I get when I look at them is that they're just observations, they're depictions, but there is no moral high ground or criticism in them. Is that right?
Well, it depends. I mean, I grew up in the suburbs, New Jersey,
Okay.
and so like a lot of that whole suburban type theme is is from just from my past and from my experience because since I'm just making stuff up, right? It's like whatever comes out is based on your experience, like and so some of this stuff is more critical, like the money type stuff and the Street type stuff.
Certainly.
That actually I probably started doing that when I moved into New York City and had more exposure to that sort of lifestyle. But yeah, the suburban stuff. Um, I mean, you could see some of it as a critique of suburbia as kind of the conformity
Yeah.
and that sort of thing.
In a lot of
Yeah,
to me, as I scroll through these and I'm looking at some of these particular paintings, excuse me, such as Boy at Breakfast,
yeah,
which really struck me. Baby with TV dinner. By the way, that's about an 87-year-old baby. I love that. To me, some of these, especially in the suburbs section here, some of these are just showing that people in the suburbs are somewhat imprisoned. Looking at
yeah,
blockheads, for example, it's
right.
just mailbox after mailbox, and just the genericism of it with the names on the mailbox: Smith, Jones, Jameson. Just all these
Mhm.
common anonymous
Right.
names. That's kind of my interpretation of some of those. So, and certainly, yeah, the Wall Street ones, you put it out there.
Yeah.
And it's fairly clear the message, which is great, and the politics ones as well. I do feel like there's some sympathy for the other
Hmm.
in some of these, in some ways,
Yeah.
and it's fascinating. I have to go back through all these. I looked at all these years ago. Just went through every single page and just was
Oh, really? Yeah.
astonished by how great all of these
Me
are.
too. Yeah.
And so coming back to them is a real treat, and being reminded.
I keep adding stuff as I make it, so
Yeah.
if you
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
seen it in a while, then you might see stuff you haven't seen before.
I think AI robot on the industry page was definitely new to me.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a new one.
That's definitely a more current topic than
Yeah.
a few years ago when I would have last visited your site.
And then there's the AI priest. That's the new one I just finished.
Oh, very, very nice. I love
Cool.
that idea.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks awesome. I just brought it up.
Yeah.
The eyeballs. Oh my gosh, that's so great. And the rivets again. Oh my gosh, this is excellent. Sorry, I'm like getting carried away because now I'm just like I'm scrolling and I'm going to tell you my thoughts on every single one. I'm going to stop. But like the Buddha Spirit Surfer is really intricate.
Oh
So-
yeah, that was a commission painting.
Oh,
That was a
okay.
commission painting. The guy who did who wanted me to make the Trump one. He's into mystical type art. I don't know if you know this guy, Alex Gray.
Yes.
He's
Oh yeah.
an artist. He has the temple place.
Yeah.
It's not too far from where I am now. But I think he has a bunch of his stuff. And he wanted me to do that. So it was kind of, I never did anything like based on that type of idea before. So I don't know if he really appreciated it. That's how it turned out.
It's pretty wild. It certainly is not typical of your work. So did you find that to be a stretch for you?
A little bit, yeah. But I added quite a bit of my own sort of craziness to it. So it worked like all the characters on the earth on the bottom running,
Yeah.
And so it kind of turned out all right.
Just scrolling through this page, I can really see the stained glass influence on the religion series, especially with the halos on a lot of your characters. It makes perfect sense. I guess one of my last questions for you, Tim, is did you end up getting some currency out of the Oysterhead work? Or did that help you be more recognizable to people? Did it get you some notoriety at all?
Well, I mean, I got paid for the job, so
That's
I guess
always
I got that currency.
Yeah.
And I did actually, I mean, over the years, people would recognize me from that. So that was kind of interesting. Say, oh yeah, you did the Oysterhead. So yeah, because it was pretty popular among a certain sector of society, I suppose.
It certainly was. It got a lot of eyeballs. So hopefully some of those eyeballs went your way. It sounds like they did.
Yeah. Well, I do have somewhere, I don't know, because I don't think I sent them the pictures, the digital stuff of the drawings, the preliminary drawings, all those ones, but they never bought those or anything. And I think I have them somewhere, but I don't know where I put them. I got to look around.
Frankie's eyes just bugged out of his
Please
head.
let us know if they ever pop up.
Yeah, certainly. Be interested in knowing more about those.
Yeah.
I did want to thank you very much, Tim, for joining us today. It was really
Thank you so
great to
much,
talk
Tim.
to you.
We had a great
Thanks
time.
for inviting me.
You definitely have a place in, Primus Claypool history, and it was really great to talk to you. And who knows, if those guys get together again, we might see another
Can I-
Oysterhead cover art.